Alright guys, how's it going? We're back and today we have another car information video. But today's video is going to be pretty spicy, pretty controversial. I like it. We're going to see some raging comments, maybe supporting comments. And before we start this video, I just want to emphasize this is just my opinion. I'm just a guy. So let's get going. And so in today's video, we're going to be talking about is Subaru ruining the WRX. Is Subaru ruining the roots and legacy that once was the amazing rally car that took the world by storm? Or are they doing a good job? Let's talk about it now. Alright, so starting with the history of the WRX. Well, kind of this history of the Impreza. So in 1992, the Impreza was introduced into North America. But not only that, the WRX was introduced, but only in Japan. In that model year, there also was a Type RA option, which was kind of like a stripped down version of the regular WRX. I think it had no AC, it was kind of more stripped down, more lightweight. It was also the same turbocharged flat 4 all-wheel drive platform that was seen throughout all of the WRX history. So the kind of the heart of the WRX has always been there from the very beginning, which was the all-wheel drive turbo flat 4, obviously. And then in 1993, the Impreza 555 came out, which really solidified Subaru as a company, as a sport company, as a rally company. And Colin actually won the first World Rally Championship for Subaru and the WRX, well, the Impreza 555, and a 300 wheel horsepower beast, which signified the World Rally Blue Subaru color. Amazing history right there. And then in 1994, the WRX STI version 1 was released in Japan. It was similar to the previous WRX generation, but it had 250 horsepower in comparison to 237 horsepower, and it had the STI logo. So in 1997, it was kind of an important year. They released the Sport Wagon WRX, and in my opinion, this is a very important segment of the Subaru WRX history. This model year kind of showed that Subaru as a company, you know, they weren't making enough sales. No, they might have been, but they wanted more profit, they wanted more revenue, they wanted to make the car reach a more mainstream audience, so they released a more practical WRX in 1997, which was the WRX Sport Wagon. And although this might not seem as significant, it shows that they're trying to be more practical and they wanted to reach more audiences, which is super important with this argument. You'll see later why. In 1998, they released the amazing holy grail of Subaru, which is the 22B. An amazing two-door STI, which is just beautiful, fast, elegant, everything you'd want. And to show like the legacy of this 22B, it sold out 400 units in just about 30 minutes, which is really crazy. The 22B also raised the horsepower from 250 horsepower to 276. It was more lightweight with the two doors, more compact. And they also released 24 extra 22Bs, but sadly those weren't in North America yet. Those are for other countries, I believe, like UK and stuff. But the next model year was arguably the most important year yet, which was 2002, when they brought the Subaru Bug-Eye into the US markets, the North American markets. So in terms of unit numbers, it was reported around 35,000 2002 WRXs, Bug-Eyes, were brought into the US market and sold very quickly. But sadly the STI wasn't here yet, it was just the WRX. It was just kind of a little feet trinkle in the water, get the water, feel the water out, feel if it's warm or not, feel if Subaru should fully indulge into the North American market. I don't know why they wouldn't. But the Bug-Eye came out and it took the world by storm. They sold 35,000 units like nothing. It took on competitors like the S4, the 3 Series, the Mustangs, and it destroyed them honestly in every way. And not only that, as it came at a very low premium compared to its competitors. But then comes the Blob-Eye generation. Not only does the car receive a huge facelift and a bigger hood scoop, but it was also the first introduction of the STI into the North American market. But not only that, is the STI came with not just 276, not just a Weasley, a minuscule 276 horsepower, but it came with 300. Yeah. And sadly, that number hasn't really changed since 2005. We are now 13 years later, but we'll get to that later. As for the 2008 year, this is where Subaru fucked up. They came out with a WRX that was extremely bad on gas, had very bad turbo lag, really bad suspension, and didn't even compete with the competitors. They didn't even really increase the power numbers, and in fact, they barely even released what the specs were. Very disappointing, however, they did come out with a new STI, which was great, which was awesome, and they also came out with the STI hatchback, which is what the world wanted, which is what the world needed. But however, they did redeem themselves in 2009. They completely changed the WRX. They fixed all the issues that They must have known that we're there and that everybody was really complaining about. In 2013, they had another model refresh. They kind of added a more wide body to the WRX. STI was kind of basically the same. In 2015, which is like the newest year, they came out with a brand new WRX platform, a brand new STI platform. Same STI engine, same STI transmission basically, but a completely new transmission for the WRX. It now comes in a 6-speed, and it now comes with a brand new 2-liter flat 4 engine, which is much improved, way better reliability, well, so as we know so far, and just an overall great platform. It's now 2018, we're hearing rumors of these crazy concept WRX and STIs. Will they come true? Probably not. The 2015 WRX concept was really crazy too, but it turned out to be kind of disappointing. So the question of this video is, did Subaru ruin the WRX? So with competitors like the Focus RS and the Civic Type R, I honestly do believe Subaru is really messing up the WRX. But not really the WRX, but more specifically the STI. So in 2005, when Subaru came out with the WRX STI and it had the whopping 300 horsepower, it was amazing. Honestly unbeatable in that class. It had a very high tunability factor, had very high numbers, had a great transmission, and it was awesome. For the first topic, we're going to talk about power numbers. When the WRX bug guy was first released into North America in 2002, it had great power figures compared to the competitors. I think that's a really good term to use because like you can look at power numbers, but you also need to keep in mind your competitors because people will go to other substitutes, other competitors, if you can't keep up with the competition, with the demand. However, the Subaru cult does play into that, and there's a lot of very loyal Subaru fans. But in terms of Subaru as a company and wanting to bring in new customers, wanting to draw new traction, the power figure is a very important factor. So in 2002, when they came out with the original WRX, the bug eye WRX, it was great. It was up par with all the highest, you know, fast sedans, like the S4, the 3 Series BMWs. Like, it was up there at the top. It was a great car, all-wheel drive, and it just had no problems. As the years go on, they introduced the STI in 2005. Great move. It had a 2.5-liter flat 4 producing 300 horsepower, which was a great power figure for 2005. And honestly, it just was a great platform overall. However, 13 years later, with the release of the brand new 2018 STI, it basically sells the exact same platform, only producing 5 more horsepower than the 2005 model. What the heck, Subaru? However though, it's a great platform, and the loyal fans will obviously stay with Subaru. In my opinion, they're really taking advantage of recycling this model year, and it's only going to hurt them in the end. Subaru isn't able to draw in all the new fan base, all the new customers, especially when the Focus RS comes out, especially when the Type R comes out. How does Subaru not think we need to make a change? So in 2020, I believe they're introducing the new STI platform. I really hope they update and bring more power into their lineup. It's going to draw in a lot more customers, a lot more fan base. Because when people have a lot of substitutes, a lot of choices, it's going to take away from Subaru. It's going to take away from Subaru. It's going to take away the demand from Subaru. And right now we're in a great time for this segment of the market, for the sporty coupes, the sporty sedans, the sporty hatchbacks. We're in a really great time of cars, and Subaru just isn't catching up. And as for the competition, Honda, the Civic Type R, it has more horsepower than an STI. A Honda has more power than the top level Subaru vehicle. Who would have thought? And it's funny because Honda knows Subaru isn't going to be making changes soon, and so what they did is they based the Civic Type R off 306 horsepower. They made it 1 more horsepower than Subaru just to prove like we're up there. And Honda's market isn't looking for all that power. So it just shows that even Honda knows, Subaru, we passed you. They want it to be 1 more horsepower more than Subaru, just to show we're main competitors now. As for the Focus RS, 350 horsepower, 350 foot-pounds of torque. That's where I believe Subaru should aim for. Like around 330, around 325 to 350. That's where they should be by now, and that's where I really think they're going to go to in 2020, and I really hope they do, because the Focus RS is a prime example of a great platform. It has all the technology of the all-wheel drive, the suspension, the horsepower. It doesn't have a lot of supply, but it has a really high demand, and I just hope Subaru gets to that point again. As for the second part of this video, we're going to talk about the transformation from a rally car to a family sedan. So in the 90s, obviously the Subaru was a complete rally car, basically. It was a complete sports car. It was super lightweight, turbocharged engine, all-wheel drive. It was more of a dedicated rally car. It was more of a dedicated sports car. And that's why I think in 1997, it was a very significant year because Subaru basically said, we're not just going to be the sports car, we're also going to be practical. And they came out with the WRX wagon. That was a really significant year for me. In 2002, the WRX Bug Eye was basically it was a very similar platform to the GC8, to the original WRX. It's maybe a little bit more practical, a little bit bigger, but it was pretty much the same car. But it was pretty much the same platform. However, they did have a hatchback for the WRX, which did show they wanted to be practical still. But from 2002 to 2007, from the Bug Eye to the Hawkeye generation, they still contain the soulful attitude, the raw experience that once was the WRX rally car. Now, I've driven the newer WRX, I've driven the Snake Eye generation, and I've obviously driven my WRX, and I've also driven a Bug Eye and a Hawkeye, and they're honestly just two completely different experiences. When I drive my friend's Snake Eye generation, or the 2010 generation, it just doesn't feel as raw. The exhaust is super quiet, the suspension is not that firm, it's super bouncy. It just feels like a completely different car from the previous generations. As for my 2004 WRX, it's crazy, like, it's completely raw feeling. You're jamming into the gears, super mechanical. Even with my stock exhaust, it still made a very good rumble. You just felt everything. You felt all the vibrations. It's just an amazing experience. Super heavy clutch. You're just going through the motions. It just feels like you're so involved with the car. So in 2008, it was also a very important year. Subaru basically said, we need a car that fits into more segments than just like the car enthusiast. What they did is they increased the size of the sedan. They increased the weight. They made it a more plain looking car. They made the hood scoop smaller, and they basically just said, we want to fit every segment of the market. And that was the year which they took away that raw feeling, the raw rally car feeling. They made it bigger, they made it boxier, they made it way more. And that was a really significant year where they changed from a raw car enthusiast feeling to more of a numb feeling. I'm not going to say the newer WRXs are numb in any way. Still great cars. But that year really signified the change that Subaru was going to make. And obviously, and as for the STI, they went, we're going to make a wagon. For all the dads out there who want an STI but want a family vehicle, we're going to make a wagon for you. We're going to make it way more practical. But we're going to keep the same platform. We're going to keep the same platform, but we're going to make it more practical. We're going to make it more usable for everybody out there who wants an STI but is afraid it's too raw for them. It's afraid that their baby's going to freak out. So they made the STI hatchback. So in 2012, 2013, Subaru was running into a huge problem. People just weren't as enthusiastic with buying the WRX anymore. They only sold 13,000 WRX/STI units in 2012. Significantly low to the years before, and they really need to start making a change. This is when they started developing the new generation that we have now, which in 2015 sold almost 34,000 units, which is well over double, which is what Subaru needed. From 2015 to 2018, it's been really steady, above that 30,000 unit mark, which is really great. But do you know why it's up there? Do you know why Subaru sales have treaded upward and just stayed steady? Because they've taken that raw feeling out of the car. And because of that, it's obviously expanded into way more markets than it ever would have. People buy it as a family sedan if they want a little extra power. People buy it so they can put their kids in the back and have a little bit of fun. But back in the day when a WRX was sold, you were just going to drive it just for the raw experience. And there's just been a really big change in attitude for the WRX. And I apologize for this scramble of a video. And it's kind of hard. I'm trying to get all my thoughts out there. And I want to watch what I say, because if I say something wrong, I'm just going to get torn apart in the comments. I'm sure I already did, but I can have my opinion. You guys can have your opinion. Make sure to tell me what I said wrong down below. But in terms of the question, do I think Subaru ruined the WRX? I think they did ruin the raw and roots of the WRX, but I think they created something better. Something that fits into every segment. Something anybody can drive and enjoy. So if you think that's ruining the WRX, I guess that's ruining the WRX. But I think they just kind of made it more of a well-rounded vehicle in terms of just a pure, raw experience. Which I could understand, because the Subaru wouldn't be able to keep that platform selling if they didn't make these changes that it did. I appreciate all the amazing support lately. We are over 400 subscribers! Thanks for watching, guys.